But what we really need to discuss and be focusing on is our debt service tax levy. And the way the debt service tax levy is done is every year in August, we have to have a hearing. We have to post that in the paper 2 weeks prior. So we do need direction, probably the next August meeting for sure. We have to have it at that point to know, so we can publish it in the paper and do all those things for our tax rate hearing that we do it every year. And so really tonight, our focus is, what do we want to do with our debt service funds, and how does that impact really the future for a no tax rate increase bond issues?
And there are two project amounts for the elementary, 38.5 million and 42 million, just to give some ranges here. So if we keep the levy at 65 cents, we could issue bonds in 10 million in 2024, then 16 million in 2025, total 26 million, but we can't issue the remaining amount until 2030, just because the 65 cents doesn't provide enough cash flow for you, enough revenue. And obviously, with a larger project amount of 42 million, that third piece of 16 million would have to wait till 2032. So, it could be a matter of trying to divide up the project into segments and spread it out, working with the architect. So in the green section, if we still do the 875,000 defeasance, the levy 69 cents. So you more or less arbitrarily move the levy up 4 cents next month. If you take for the 38.5 million, well, for both size projects, we can issue 27 million in 2 years. And then the idea we had was you could do a lease financing to complete the project. So we have 11.5 million for the smaller project. And then 3 years later, when we issue the rest of the bonds, pay that lease off. The downside, well, the benefit is you can complete the project all within 2 years essentially. But the lease financing, you're paying, the best way to accomplish this would be interest only for several years. So you already have assuming you have the authority from the voters to issue the additional debt, we just have to make sure you can afford it within your cash flow when we issue that third piece to pay off the lease. So our projection is you at least have it for 3 years, which would cost about 1.5 million in interest expense. Going back to our conversation before, if you grow above 2.5%, maybe it's not 3 years, maybe it's 2 or less. And then with the $42 million project, supplemented with a $15 million lease, you would probably have to wait till 2030 to pay off that lease, which would be about 3.4 million in interest expense.
So then when you
It's worth it to me, I would think.
I definitely don't want to consider the 13 cents or the 16 cents rounded off. Just because I think if we increase things that much when we have our tax rate increase, then when we run a no tax increase bond issue, people are gonna say, well, yeah, you just increased our taxes. You already did it, so that's not gonna go over. And also with the reassessment that's happening, we certainly don't want to add to that. I don't think people are going to have very negative feelings about that. And Rich, I'm like you. If it was me, yes, I would vote for it. I mean, I would be okay with it, but I'm thinking about the larger community, and I know there would be a lot of negativity from that. I do want to build the building all at once. I think that's really important, because otherwise we're moving early childhood, and then we're moving back and switching, and it just puts us out further, and I'm afraid we would wind up having to rent mobile units at Way Ridge or somewhere, because we would run out of space in the meantime. and we've all said we want to avoid that if at all possible.
I just think the
No,
public's,
understandable.
the public's gonna look at this going, you did give me a tax increase, or you can't tell me you didn't.
I do see what Deanna's saying though, it is a little confusing and it looks like you have, well, because you have increased the taxes, but it's within our operating legally what we can do. And what they'd be voting on for the bond issue is really a no tax increase. We're not asking for more, but I do see what you say, it could be a little off-putting to people.
Well, they're gonna think we're not being upfront.
Yeah.
And look at how many
Otherwise-
times the fire has been turned down, right?
Yep.
So, and them just getting an increase in their assessments, I don't see this going over very well at all.
And so that's what we're discussing right now is, are we better off just keeping the rate the same or increasing it, 3.9 cents, which is about $7 and some change a year for a $100,000 home. And that's really not out of the line of what normal fluctuation is, but at the same time, it is an increase from what we had before. So there is a little bit of debate of what the right thing to do is. Should we increase it just slightly? That way we pay less in interest, so we save the district, potentially $1 million in interest payments, but then the taxpayers have to foot the bill a little bit more than what we had, because what we want to do is set the tax rate now and then have a no tax rate increase moving forward to pay for this. So it's the same. So we're set it now, and then this is what it's going to be. But there's just some debate on what the right answer is right there. So we haven't made a decision on that. We invite anybody to come to our tax rate hearing on August 24th at 5 o'clock to weigh in.